Alright, so you've been playing Guild Wars Reforged, enjoying all of the new game modes that are included, the Reforged as well as Doom's Covenant, and you have run into some walls and some other issues. Me too. I think the easiest way to approach this is just by saying, I get you. These are the most important things that I wish I knew sooner when playing Guild Wars Reforged. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Guild Wars Reforged and Guild Wars 2 content. Alright, before we get into this, Caffeinated has some Christmas bills to pay. Albion Online is a sandbox MMORPG that has so many possibilities that it's not even funny. This MMO spins crafting and large-scale PvP on its head and brings it to the forefront, and it honestly redefines the meaning of player choice. This MMO thrives off of social interaction and fully driven player economy, which is constantly growing and changing with the people who play it, not to mention the in-depth, full, unfiltered PvP. If you enjoyed PvP in other MMOs, well, you very well may love the constant and dangerous battles against other players in this game. And don't forget their classless system allows you to essentially change your strategy on the fly to fight however you want. Right now may be the best time to jump in and play Albion Online because they just dropped their Realm Divided update that overhauled faction warfare to make those PvP battles more accessible to all players, veteran and beginners alike, making these battles a lot faster to get into and transforming these skirmishes into massive siege warfare. Join as one of 6 factions to wrest control from other players and make those large skirmishes into truly epic battles. If you want to get started with Albion Online, go ahead and click the link in the description below to start your journey. Alright, so the first one is kind of like the Pre-Searing Trap, and this is kind of like the fear of missing out. So if you are brand new to this game and you picked it up and it's either on Steam or on the native launcher, you definitely would have noticed with the Prophecies campaign, the first campaign, that there is quite a bit of characters. There's a lot of them that are like level 20, which is the max level. And you've ever been curious of what that is. The Pre-Searing Trap, or it's kind of like I call it, is essentially the tutorial area that a lot of people just rush out. One of the things that I kind of wish I knew sooner, especially in the terms of skills and abilities and exploration, really it boils down to me rushing out of there to get into the main story and start progressing on some of the missions after the searing. I of course knew about the legendary defender of Ascalon, and again the objective there is to get to level 20 without leaving the pre-searing area. You also get a bunch of other different skills and abilities that you would end up having to work on and get later after you've already left this area or if you rushed out of it. While it is the tutorial area and it's very scenic and it can be a lot of fun, there's still quite a bit to do here. So when they give you the quest after, I think it's only like 2 or 3 quests in that area, and then they give you the option to leave, my recommendation and something I really would have wished that I would have done sooner would be actually taking my time in the pre-searing area. Make sure that I'm getting the skills, maybe even keeping a character there just to focus on the legendary defender of Ascalon, especially with the Reforged mode. It seems like it's very good. It's a good time to start doing that. But I really wish I would have focused on that a lot better. Another thing that I really wish that I would have done sooner, and it's been kind of remedied with the Reforged mode of how it's come out, is the importance of heroes versus henchmen. One thing that I thought that I was kind of trapped in with my ranger going through the Prophecies campaign is that I didn't have any heroes at my disposal. The only one that you get is Mox, and that's once you get to Lion's Arc. I actually didn't realize that you can actually start the Eye of the North campaign kind of like in that time period that I think you could start it at like level 10. It's very quick. Now, the reason that this is important is that in just the quick series of quests to get to the Eye of the North, you can essentially unlock like several heroes that are ready to go. And the heroes are so much better than the henchmen. And again, this has been remedied a little bit with the Reforged mode. So if you start out a character on Reforged mode, just so you know, it makes it the AI is a lot smarter and they don't do as many dumb things. Heroes overall tend to be significantly better. And I didn't realize that you could, as early as level 10, as long as you have the Eye of the North campaign, the expansion, that you can go ahead and get those. I had no idea. I like to solo. I like to go out and kind of do my own thing and have my own characters. So having a bunch of heroes would have made everything a lot smoother. And I didn't realize how quickly that I could have gotten that. I really wish I would have done that sooner. One thing that was very important, and I really kind of wish that I did better. Now, it was a little bit changed because I was a ranger and I did almost always use a longbow. but knowing how to have weapon sets and then also how to do the longbow pull. Essentially, Guild Wars Reforged is brutal, especially if you start aggroing more than one group. It's going to be a wipe. There's many times during my Prophecies campaign that I died because I pulled too many groups or I didn't move them up and out of the way. This kind of also goes with the control of henchmen, but using the longbow as just even a secondary weapon, like you don't even have to have it up super high, just as a secondary weapon, and grabbing the enemies that are away from you and just pulling them, aggro them, and then have your henchmen set up, or your henchmen and heroes set up so that they can handle it. It makes everything so much easier in that regard if you have a longbow to essentially pull at a long distance. There's sometimes, especially once you got into the Eye of the North campaign, I mean, Factions is pretty rough too, but Eye of the North campaign, it makes it so much easier to have that control over everything with using a longbow rather than just face pulling everything. Now, one thing that I really wish I knew sooner was the benefit of armor as compared to health. Again, I do understand that having both of those is important to survival. Essentially, your character has to be able to survive on its own, even without the assistance of your healers or your protection henchmen or heroes or what have you. But really, armor I found to be drastically more important than where I'm at. So currently, for example, I'm playing the Factions campaign for my assassin, and he's only like level 13 or 14. Sure, but he's still rocking low-level gear. And I'm getting absolutely decimated by groups of enemies before I can even get close to them. And again, the AI usually for enemies is targeting the weakest enemies. So guess what? I am the weakest enemy with my weak-ass armor. It makes it so much more important that I actually have a good amount of armor, and you could do this a number of ways, but upgrading that gear and having a higher armor set is going to make your survivability skyrocket. It's not going to be something that you can overlook, and I really wish I would have focused and paid attention to that in the past. This is more of a reiteration of a point that I've made previously, and that is the use of the Signet of Capture. Of course, you don't learn any elite skills from the trainers. You have to steal them from bosses using that specific signet, of course. And one thing that I wish I knew sooner was its importance. I've already talked about this in a previous video, and I really have to emphasize it here. And I would also even make mention, don't use Signet of Capture for normal skills. Only use them for elite skills. And the reason being is because the normal skills can be learned in a number of different ways. Usually you can just learn them straight from a skill trainer. Sometimes they have quests that you can unlock that will grant you those abilities. But having a Signet of Capture for whenever you stumble across an elite enemy it's so important for you to do. And I would highly, highly recommend just having that ready and carrying that on your skill bar. Depending on your group, you could even get away from having a resurrection signet and use Signet of Capture in that point. It's so important, especially when you stumble across something that has an elite skill that you can use, or you're going through to collect it for your side profession. Highly, highly recommend. Now, one thing that I really wish that I'm a stubborn person, but one thing I really wish I knew that I should have done sooner, let me put it this way, is avoiding the death penalty spiral. So as you know, like every death lowers your max HP, your energy up to 60%. So 4 wipes essentially is the cap if you don't gain any of it back. Now it does start to deplete as you kill enemies, and especially if you kill elites or groups of elites. Honestly, if you got to like 3 deaths where you're down like 45%, you're in a very bad spot, and I would not recommend continuing, just because it will save you so much frustration. Don't rage quit because of it, after getting the 60 death penalty and still forcing it. Just go back to town, reset, and try again. Like that's the beauty of this game, is you have unlimited times to go back and reset your character. So, I mean, just give it a shot. Like if you go through and it's like you're getting wrecked before you even get halfway through the first mission, okay, maybe you need to change some things with your build and look at it from that regard. But it's not worth just busting through and face rolling the frustration that you're going to end up having after you've died a bunch. Avoid the death penalty spiral. That's one thing that I really wish I would have known, or I would have stuck with sooner, because I'm stubborn. I don't know. Maybe you're like me. So one thing that I didn't spend as much time on as I went through my initial playthrough, but salvage kits matter so much in this game. And I mean that in the sense of when I go to salvage something, I'm not using like one of the bigger, more expensive premium salvage kits on just like a normal piece of gear. Like I'm using that on something that has a really good rune that I want, or has some kind of affix that I'm going to want to apply to a different weapon. That mindset, I'm essentially throwing away gold by using the premium kit on junk. And conversely, I'm not using a basic salvage kit on something that has a rare rune. Like, again, to me, that's like, I feel like I'm throwing away gold and platinum. I'm still working on how to figure out the economy in this game as I'm learning it again. But honestly, I really wish I would have focused on the salvage kits earlier and just popping out the runes and then saving the runes for later. Even if I don't use them, I have them if I need to down the line. Like, it just ends up saving so much time and money. Honestly, that's something that I really wish I would have done. Now, while having the gear is important, specifically looking at the weapon, it seems like it's less about the weapon itself. It is more about the build. And let me explain. In other games, I mean, like even in, we'll say like more common MMOs, the better the gear, the harder you hit. And it's like you save gold for a shiny sword. Here you go. And you're set up. In Guild Wars Reforged, it's essentially you should be saving gold for skills that you can't get otherwise. Basically, a naked character with the right skills can beat quite a few different types of enemies without little issue. And again, the build crafting in Guild Wars Reforged is so important. So opening yourself up to skills and learning what skills you need to have to make your build appropriate is so much better than spending all of your money and time, I should say, just getting for a slightly improved weapon. And I think that's also kind of case in point why the skill cap or the level cap is only level 20, and all the gear essentially tops out once you get to max level, is because it's then focuses more onto your build and adapting your build to what circumstance you're in front of. So again, that means more skills at your disposal, the better that you are at handling everything that is thrown your way. And one thing that I really wish I knew before I started playing Guild Wars Reforged was the fact that the secondary class is not forever. I kind of like said this to myself when I started playing as a ranger. I picked the Mesmer because I was trying to be like, oh, I'll be a touch ranger, and I forgot that I thought it was with Mesmer and not the necromancer. It is with the necromancer, and that was something that I was like, oh my goodness, why would I do that? Why did I do that? That's such a dumb mistake that I made. The fact that you can change your skills, you can change your profession, I should say, your secondary profession later down the line. And it was kind of a bit of a panic point, and I didn't actually know when I started playing that was something that I could do. And it has been an absolute lifesaver knowing that it's not forever. Yeah, so these are the things that I kind of wish that I knew sooner, and hopefully some of this actually is beneficial to you guys and makes you enjoy this game a lot better. It's a lot of fun. The build crafting in this game is a ton of fun, but these are definitely things that I really wish I would have known before starting playing this game. If you want to see some other ways that I got better at playing Guild Wars Reforged, you can click this video here. It's going to talk about all the things, the learning curve that I had, and maybe it'll help you out. As always, stay caffeinated, folks.